pleasure
Hi,
to meet you.
it's a pleasure to meet you too. Sylvian, correct?
Yes, it is.
That's a wonderful name. I love your name. And your last name is Ethara? Is that
Yes.
pronounced right?
Yes.
Wow, that's an amazing name.
Thank you so much. How have you been? I just want to chat with you for just a minute because I know that it's been really hard, but third time's a charm, right?
Exactly. Exactly. I hope you're feeling better. I was so sorry to hear you weren't feeling well last week.
I am. I am. I've had migraines all my life, but sometimes they just get to a point where they get real hard to deal with. So yeah, that it's a lot better now.
I totally understand. I'm sorry to hear that. I hope you're feeling good. So what did you want to talk about before we started the podcast?
Well, I want to talk about you. You're the one that, you're the one doing all this great stuff. I'm trying to find my notes here. I cleaned everything up yesterday, and you can't never find anything when you after you clean. Um, so
No worries.
um, so I want to just discuss the growth and what you've done, and I may have to wing it, Lion, but I mean, I want to know all about you, and that's what I really want to know. I just want to meet the Lion that has done Film Crux and started doing this and how you got to doing it and what you wanted to accomplish in the beginning and how it turned out and just give the listeners something that here it is. I got it. See, I knew I didn't lose my mind. Um if you see the stack of papers, look, yeah, okay. That tells you what I'm doing here. I put everything in a nice, neat pile and then can't find anything. But I just want everybody to know who you are, because I mean, to me, my gosh, your work is absolutely, truly amazing. And
Oh,
it has touched me. Like several of your projects that I've seen, I mean, they hit me deep. Like, and I'm not the only one, I'm sure. So I love your thoughts and the pattern of thinking, and to just know where that comes from and give everybody an idea to know you is absolutely what this is about. You're a force, and I think that you deserve respect for that, and that's what this is about.
oh, that is so kind of you, Sylvia, and thank you so much. It's great to hear. I'm glad you liked any of my stuff, honestly. So I'm really appreciative.
Your mind is forward thinking, but yet still here in this area. Like you're forward, but you're still here with us. And the fact that you thought like anyone, it blew me away. Anyone is
Oh,
I cannot tell you, I mean seriously, that's gonna stick with me forever because
oh,
it was so true to the fact that if there is a being that is there and is just kind of stuck, but we aren't, why are we? What is it that we do to ourselves to keep us stuck? And why is it that we choose to be in this bubble when we have free range to move and to do? And it crosses all things, like anything, life, travel, anything. Like you could look at it across the board for anything. For me, it was moving spiritually. It was moving in life and things like that. So it really just put in a different spin on the way people could look at things. And I feel like that's the kind of thing that people need to know about. That's the person that people need to hear. Because when you amplify voices like that, other people's lives get better.
oh, well, that is so great. I'm so glad you got that from anyone. I'm so glad I connected with you. And yeah, I'm really excited to talk and have this conversation. It's great to meet you finally.
It's
We've
great
talked
to
a little
meet
bit
you.
through message, so I'm excited.
Wonderful. Are you ready to start?
Yeah, and I brought my coffee like you
Yep, there
recommended.
you go. Bring your coffee. Exactly. All right. So you want to introduce yourself? Because I don't want to mess that up because I want to make sure you have everything the way it's supposed to be. I know what you've done, but I want you to go ahead and introduce yourself because I think that it's very important for you to be able to tell everybody who you are.
Okay, definitely. I'm Lion El Aton. I'm the founder of Film Crux and the co-founder of Xanatos.ai and AI Creative Jobs and AI Creative Club. I work with Eddie Yoon running that as well. And I'm a filmmaker, a creator, an AI filmmaker, a VFX artist, and a Renaissance man in training.
I think that's amazing. And like I said, it's just something, it's a beautiful thing that you're doing. Um, thank you for being with us, honestly. I mean, this is just one of the most amazing. I'm really, really excited. Let me ask you first. The first question I have for you is you've built Film Crux into what, is the one of the biggest film making newsletters in the world. What inspired you to start it? And did you imagine that it would scale to this level?
First of all, thank you for having me on. I'm really excited to talk. And yeah, Film Crux, I designed it initially to be a place to help independent filmmakers so
Hmm.
that it could close the gap between indie filmmakers and Hollywood. So people's only limits were their creativity and their imagination.
Hmm.
And so it's a whole media company. It has one of the biggest filmmaking newsletters, probably the biggest one, over 650,000 email subscribers
Wow.
now. And then we have social media. So I think we have like 300 something thousand on Instagram, a quarter million on TikTok, I think we just passed a quarter million on YouTube. So we got our first plaque not too long ago. So yeah, so it became really big from just this very simple idea of when I started filmmaking, I wanted to, have this access to resources and figure out how to do things and figure out how to learn in a cool way and
Hmm.
learn from all the best people. So I just created Film Crux as a company that was what I would have needed when I was first starting out, or even when I was like an expert filmmaker and I was learning new things. What's the thing I needed? And so I just made what I needed all along the way. Because
Hmm.
how I originally got started was I was doing filmmaking more than a decade ago, maybe 10, 15 years ago.
Hmm.
And when I started, I was just doing short films. And then I went to Alaska and I started doing documentary work and we started filming, being some of the earliest drone filmmaking. So before you could even buy a drone that had cameras attached to it,
Hmm.
we were taking like a GoPro Hero 2 and like a sticky mount and attaching it to the bottom of a drone, and then we flew it through the ice caves in Alaska and Mendenhall Glacier.
Oh,
And
wow.
then when we made that video, it's called Bigger Than Life Ice Caves. For some reason, it just blew up. And they started playing it everywhere. And it got in Time Magazine. And then we got in Wall Street Journal. And then we got on History Channel. And then we got in Japan. And for some reason, people were responding to it because they'd never seen that
Hmm.
technology before used that way.
Yeah.
And so we really realized like we had something there, but it was so early. It was like before there were even drone rules. Like there were no commercial drones for filming that people really
Right.
used. Since then, it was the same kind of thing. A lot of people thought it was going to be a fad, and now drones are ubiquitous. Like every production basically probably has them. And
Exactly.
then that led us to realizing like, oh, I could actually do this. So then I went and started my own company, which was Film Crux. And ever since then, I just started by giving people all the stuff that I wanted. So I would just make all the cool stuff that I could, stuff a lot of people were paying for at the time. I just made it for free. Transitions, LUTs, sounds, anything I can make that I use for my own projects.
Mhm.
I just made the best thing I could and gave it away for free for everyone. And
Oh,
that's how the email list got really, really huge. That's how the blog got huge and people started seeing the social media. It was just helping people, which
yeah.
people underestimate the value of that. There's this
Yes.
great, great quote from Benjamin Franklin, where he says that if, I'm a paraphrase, but if villains understood the value of virtue, they would become virtuous out of villainy. And it's
Yes.
basically this idea that even if you didn't care about other people, which you absolutely should, even if you were totally self-interested, which you absolutely shouldn't be, it would still be in your best interest to help as many people as possible. And Film Crux blew up just from doing that. You help a lot of people, you end up capturing a little bit of that value for itself, for yourself.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree 1,000% because in my past role I was working, and realistically you have the ability to make good money doing what you do, but if you're helping people and that's the first thing on your mind, then the
Mhm.
money will follow. And that's the way it goes because you're putting good in, you're going to get good back. It's the universal law of average, right? You're doing the good, you're going to get it back. And
Right.
I mean, that's really where I feel like that's kind of like that really warms my heart because there's not a lot of people that see the value in helping people. People see the value in money. But if they seen the value in taking the time to help others, like you said, it would all follow. It follows itself. It doesn't matter because you're putting that good into the world, you're going to get that good back. So that makes me just, I mean, I just love that. I absolutely love that. And it couldn't be a better reason to do, to blow up and to be amazing and to get that. And the other thing about your drone idea, that probably blew up because nobody'd seen that, like that, like you went into that cave, nobody's seen that yet, like from that angle. And so when
Right.
they seen somebody doing that and you were able to do that and the mind that you had to think to the sticky tape GoPro on a drone, that's forward thinking. That's not sitting here going, well, man, I wish I could get in that cave. I wish I could see what it is. You're like, no, I see a situation. I'm going to solve it my way, even if it's not anything anybody's done. And who knows? I mean, let's be honest. Who knows how many drones that you with cameras on them that you've actually, inspired to become what they are, now. So that's huge. Just thinking about that in itself. So look at that.
I'm glad you like that idea. Honestly, so my partner who I was working with at the time, Ion, he's the one who came up with that idea. We were both learning filmmaking together. I'd already been filmmaking for a while before that. He got in it with me, and he's actually the pilot, and I was the one doing all the filming. And
Wow.
so we worked together. A lot of times back then, you would have, even when we got a second drone from the companies we were working with, they started adding cameras and you could have like one dimension of movement,
Mhm.
but it would be one person controlling the camera and one person controlling the drone. So we filmed all that stuff. It got GoPro Video of the Week. It got picked up into an ad campaign with GoPro, and then things just started coming from there. But we were so early that the FAA didn't even know what to do with the drones. So they talked to us. They asked if we could help, like, establish like early drone rules. But it was so early, we didn't even end up doing that. It was just early days before there
Wow.
were any rules. And yeah, it was wild. It's weird that similar things are happening right now with AI,
Hmm.
where AI is very, very early,
Yeah.
and a lot of people don't know what it's going to become, or they have a hesitancy against it,
Hmm.
or it's just a big change.
Hmm.
But if you just imagine 5 years out, 10 years out, or really long time horizons, 50 years out, 100 years, it becomes
Hmm.
very obvious that AI is going to be ubiquitous across every creative industry.
Yeah.
All creatives could use it. And a lot of people are worried because they're worried that studios and big companies will just be able to use AI to, do more with
Replace.
less.
Yeah.
Yeah. But what I tell people is if studios can use AI to do more than with less, then can't you also use AI to do more with less? And if every single person can use it to do more of what they want to do with less resources,
Hmm.
I see that as like a clearly a good thing. And the
Right.
same thing happened with digital cameras. Look how many more filmmakers we have now because digital cameras came out, and how many less movies we'd have or great work we'd have if
Hmm.
we never got digital cameras.
Yeah.
AI is a similar thing, except it's the greatest democratization in the history of filmmaking or really any creative field. There's not a single creative field that it won't touch, that it
Right.
won't allow people to change or allow people to utilize in whatever way they want. It's totally
Right.
optional.
Right. I think that a lot of people's hesitance is back. Well, I'm an older soul. So I remember back in the day when typewriters were replaced with word processors and word processors were replaced with computers. I can remember the first IBM computer with the big floppy disk, things like that. And everybody was hesitant to move forward because it was something everybody was just really used to what they had. I think that's where
Right.
a lot of the I think that's where a lot of the hesitancy comes from is because they're used to what they've been doing. It's not, I don't think that it's necessarily that they don't want to. I think that it's some are so set in their ways that it's hard to learn. Others
Mhm.
are just really in depth with what they've been doing, so they feel like this is going to take away. And some are just scared, I think. But I don't, I believe that AI is going to be, like you said, it's going to be across the board and everybody's going to be using it at some point. So I mean, it's not going away. It's only getting bigger and it's growing by leaps and bounds now. It's not a small shift anymore. It's like one minute you hear you have AI, the next minute you hear AI is doing this for like the medical field, and it's doing this for different things. And realistically, I mean, it's not going anywhere. And I mean, look what you do with it. I mean, honestly, look what you do. And I'm not saying it to just like to puff you up or anything or make you like give you an ego, but I mean, logistically, the amount of detail and the amount of work that you put in and how you make it look, it's unbelievable. And everybody should check out Lion's work. I mean, seriously, everybody should check it out because Lion is, oh, he's so ahead of the game. I can't even explain it. He just gives me goosebumps because he's so good at what he does. So, yes, I
I
agree.
appreciate that. I
Well,
appreciate that so much. I think you highlighted it perfectly of why people have some hesitancy, and it's normal. So I try to approach that with empathy because people ultimately's greatest fear is the unknown.
hmm
And change is just a subcategory of the unknown.
exactly.
Something changes, you don't know what's going to happen. So naturally, fear is just a
Mhm.
byproduct for a lot of people. But
Yeah.
change doesn't have to be a bad thing. Like a lot of things have changed since the Dark Ages, but we
hmm
like most of those changes. You'd much rather live now than in the Dark Ages.
Exactly.
And it tends to be that technology's progress, the more technology advances, the better our standard of living gets
hmm
across the world. There used to be way more people who lived below the poverty line. There used to be way more people who lived on less than $1 a day. And
Yes.
each day that number is going down. And so even though maybe on the news or on the internet and social media feeds, you might see bad event after bad event happening all the time, it's just because we even have the technology for you to even know about that, because there was
Exactly.
way more terrible stuff happening in the past. You never would have heard it. Humans aren't designed to see all that bad stuff. And I think if you really look at how much better the world is getting, it's pretty obvious. Like there's a great book by Steven Pinker, I want to say, called Better Angels of Our Nature. And
hmm
it just goes across using data, goes across almost any field you can think of and shows how much better things are getting. Infant mortality rates are getting better, and how the average lifespans are getting better, and the health for people is getting better. It's just getting better across the board for the most
Right.
part. Some things are getting worse, they're going up and down, but it's net good in almost every way. And I think if people keep that in mind with technology, they'll be able to be optimistic while still handling those potential downsides and dangers along the way.
Yeah, no, I agree with you 100% on that because it's a matter of looking at the broader picture, not the small one. And that's where people I feel like we kind of as people, I mean, we're just kind of wired that way to see the now instead of seeing the greater picture that's been laid out before and is possibly our future. So yeah, I do agree with you 100%. Looking at the big picture would truly help us in so many ways. So yeah, you're right. And I mean, I'm gonna check out that book because I mean, it doesn't hurt to.
Yeah, it's really interesting.
Would you describe yourself as a pioneering AI filmmaker? And what moment first made you realize AI would change the game for storytelling, Lion?
I guess a pioneer is just someone who just does something early and like starts blazing like a trail for other people to try
Mhm.
it. And there's a bunch of great people in this space. Like Caleb Ward is definitely a pioneering AI filmmaker. Dave Clark, Tim from Theoretically Media. A lot of these people are just incredible. And so there are other people who are also helping, like,
Mhm.
get the shovels
Blaze
out
that
and
trail.
clear like yeah, exactly. So yeah, I'm definitely there. I'm definitely there early. I was making, I think I made my first AI short film before there was any AI video even. It was
Wow.
created with AI tools using classical VFX and other tricks because there were no AI video generators available when I made the first
Wow.
one. I think it's called Soul Killer. And that one is actually, just made up of it was a partnership I did with CapCut, just made up of AI tools at the time, which was basically just imagery. You really couldn't create AI videos. And so I've been doing it since then. And even before then, on Film Crux, as soon as we found the first AI tools started coming out, we started making videos about them, making information for people about the best AI tools for filmmakers and for creators. Those started to get a lot of traction because people had never seen this technology. It was new to all of us. And
Yeah.
we'd also never seen something evolve at a pace that quickly, where it started rapidly improving. It started getting accelerated growth curve, which is very different than a linear growth curve. And
Right.
everybody in the space, like RPN, these people, we were all talking about it, and we were getting our minds blown every day when some new crazy innovation would come out. And so
Right.
for that, I think people like that are what I try to do too. I try to teach people about this stuff because I see AI as a wave that's coming, and
Yeah.
you can either get crushed by it or you can learn to surf.
Right.
So I want to teach as many people to learn to surf as possible. Surfing's fun.
It
You know what
is.
I'm saying?
Yeah,
You know,
exactly. And you
but you want to be
survive the
prepared.
tide, right?
Exactly. Exactly. And AI, I think, is going to democratize the creative industry so much that it's just going to help so many people who have like a dream or a big project they want to get made that would have been impossible 5 years ago or 10 years ago or 20 years ago.
Exactly. Yeah.
So I see it as a good thing. I know people who have entrenched ideas may see it as a threat. And just like you said before, people who are used to a certain thing may feel that change to be uncomfortable or the unknown
Mhm.
uncomfortable. But I just think of it as exciting, right?
Yeah.
I've always liked technology and futurism. And if my goal at Film Crux was to help indie filmmakers close the gap between them and Hollywood, then I don't think anything's going to do that more than AI. So it was obvious for me to get into it.
I think that's amazing. And I think that you're doing it for all the right reasons. And again, thank you for that. I mean, realistically, when you talk about modular workflows as the future of AI studios, could you break that down in simple terms for artists who may not have a technical background?
Yeah, definitely. So modular workflow, it's kind of a concept that it makes easy sense if you do something like film, which has a bunch of different pieces. But
Hmm.
even in photography or music or these other things, you can sort of have elements that you do in order to lead to your final product. And so usually in a film, you might come up with the idea first, and then you might write a script, and
Hmm.
then you might do pre-production where you're looking for locations and casting, and then production where you're filming and so on and so forth. A modular workflow, which applies a lot to AI studios and VFX studios and any kind of filmmaking, is just where you design each element of your workflow so that it can be swapped out with something new if a new technology comes out tomorrow that's going to make it much easier. So if you're using image generation to do concept art, if a new technology comes out tomorrow that's way better for image generation, you want to be able to put that into your workflow for yourself or your pipeline if you're working for a team that's going to be the least disruptive and the most helpful. So you can keep the rest of the tools you're using. And then when one of
Amazing.
those, when one of those comes out, a new tool for, let's say, video generation, you want to be able to replace that and add in a new video generator without disrupting your workflow. It only helps causing minimal disruption to you or your team if you're working with a team.
So basically like a Lego type in my brain, I think like Legos. So you have this entire thing built out, but you have the foundation and okay, well, you decide instead of a red one, you want a blue one. And you just take
Exactly.
you take the red one out and you stick the blue one in because the blue one's going to give you better results. It's going to hold
Exactly.
better. Am I right?
Exactly.
There,
Yes,
that's awesome.
exactly. And
Amazing.
sometimes you may have a better tool that is not the best fit for your workflow. So it may be good to use the second best tool if
Mhm.
it's a better fit for your workflow. But it's all about making your workflow better as these things evolve. Because in traditional workflows, you sort of design the workflow around the project. It doesn't have to change too much over the course of even a 3-year movie.
Right.
But when you're doing AI, there could be drastically different tools the
Hmm.
next day.
Right.
And you want to pick tools that are really quick and easy for your team to learn and adopt, that aren't going to be disruptive. And even if it's just you, if you're used to doing things in a certain way, we know it's uncomfortable sort of making that change to like you
Right.
said, typing. Well, make it as easy for yourself as possible to where the things you're used to doing, you keep as many of those as you want, and you just add tools as you're able to, and you test tools as you're able to. And then you experiment separate from your workflow. That way, your workflow can evolve without you ever really noticing that it's evolving. It's just one piece
Right.
at a time.
That's amazing. I love that idea because it just gives, like you said, and something that you said really stuck out to me was the fact that in a day that AI can change, and you're so right about that. So you're looking at a 3-year movie. How much is going to change with AI within that 3 years, right? at the rate we're moving right now. So that makes perfect sense to me that you would give yourself wiggle room to be able to change things out that fit your flow better and make things easier for you and your team, as well as the person that you're making this movie for, if you're making it for someone in that, in regards to the 3 year. So that makes perfect sense, and that's a beautiful idea. Absolutely.
I'm
Um,
glad.
absolutely. In your mind, what does the film industry look like 10 years from now if AI adoption continues at its current pace?
Um, so I don't think AI adoption is going to continue at its current pace. I think it's going to go at a much, much, much faster pace. I think adoption usually is slowest in the beginning. And I think given how incredible these tools are getting, it's going to get adopted at an unbelievable rate. A lot of people thought that AI wasn't going to get used in big productions. It's already getting used in big productions. It was already getting used in TV shows like Eternaut and House of David. And House of David season 2 is going to use AI for a lot of the production. And then you
Wow.
have movies now getting made. OpenAI is backing an animated film made with AI called Critters that they're in production for now that's going to come out maybe next year or the year after. And
Wow.
now you're starting to see more and more productions using it. And all of the studios, I know because I talk to people at all these companies, these brands, these studios, they're all using it. They're all trying to figure out how to use it. They don't know necessarily the best way yet because it's so early. But as they start figuring out ways to implement it, they're going to do it. And it's kind of this idea of everyone's using it, even if they are not talking about the fact that they're using it. There are some people who tend to be very niche or specialists or amateur who are not using it. But for the most part, everyone's using AI in some capacity or another. Even those people are using AI, even if they don't realize it, or it's not directly for their creative process. They're
Yes.
using apps where they're posting their content on. Those apps are run by algorithms that are AI,
Yes.
right? So adoption is going to increase and increase and increase. And I think the movie industry is going to become one of those things where it becomes more meritocratic, which I think is a good thing. Over the course of time, the more people you can get entered into a space who have something they want to do, the more meritocratic you can be, where the greatest work can rise to the top.
Right.
Historically, it was so difficult to have a high capitalization rate in the movie industry because maybe you had to be near Hollywood.
Right.
Or after that, maybe you had to be connected with people who work there, or maybe
Yeah.
you had to, there's all of these barriers. The more barriers we remove, the more probably genius level people we can get to
Mhm.
enter who now have a chance of their stuff being seen. And
Yeah.
I think AI removes so many of those barriers. You're going to start seeing some kid out of Africa who is an actual genius filmmaker, but
Yes.
never would have made it in the traditional Hollywood system, who can now create some project that blows people's minds, right? Some beautiful animated film or
Hmm.
some beautiful work of art that just never could have existed before. It's not going to just be amateurs. You're going to get pros who are going to use it, and you're going to get people who become pros from using it. So you're going to have all this creative work that's going to be better. People are going to be able to do more with less time,
Hmm.
less resources, smaller teams. I think in Hollywood, they're going to do what I've been arguing for a long time, which is make smaller productions
Hmm.
that do bigger things. A
Yeah.
lot of Hollywood is very bloated and sort of wasteful in how many, moving pieces there are. And I think you don't get a lot of these indie productions that can make incredible movies. There's a beautiful movie called Flow, an animated movie
Hmm.
that actually I think won Best Animated Feature at the Oscars last year, I want to say.
Wow.
And it's done by an incredibly small team.
Hmm.
And that movie probably never would have existed 10 years
Yeah.
ago, right? Certainly not before 3D animation. And AI is very similar to 3D animation
Right.
because AI itself is technically animation. It's
Yeah.
computer generated imagery.
It
People
is.
don't think about it like that because they think about live action and animation looks like this, but really it's all computer generated
Yeah.
imagery and it is a form of animation, no different than stop motion is a form of animation.
Right.
So if you think about it that way, you're going to have people making these incredible projects like Flow with very small teams that could get on a world stage or can go out into theaters or
Hmm.
can be released online or into streaming services that can get these huge audiences and that never would have been possible before. There were
Yes.
naysayers like K-pop Demon Hunters came out this year. There were people who were so against 3D animation 20, 30 years ago
Hmm.
that if everyone just stopped, we would never have movies like that. But now, I think it's the most watched thing ever on Netflix, even
Hmm.
beyond Squid Game,
Yeah.
right? It was so popular, they had to do a theater release, and you just never would have had that stuff if not for innovation. This is the same thing.
I understand completely. My daughter is 8 and she is absolutely enamored with K-pop Demon Hunters. I hear the songs all the time. I actually sing them. I'm not gonna lie. They're very
They're
catchy.
good.
They are. Let me ask you this. Because I mean, realistically, yes, you're right about the whole people wouldn't have the tools to do it. And I agree with that as well because I write as well. So the reality is that we as writers, you don't always have the monetary funds to go out and do the things that you need to do to get noticed, right? Because writers don't always have that right away. You're writing, you're starting out. So to be able to and like the idea that you can put a trailer together for a book, the idea that
Yeah.
you can do these things, and you can actually just showcase your talent in writing and in a way that is so moving to people. Like I just keep going back to anyone because it was so moving, but anything like that, you can make that moving to people. And that in itself is a great gift to others that were not on the upper ladder of success because now you have more voices that are going to bring more beautiful things to us and be able to show us more things because there's so many. Like I want to start a scholarship fund, and it's the Legacy Scholarship Fund, and I want to start it because I want to give to the people that are affected by the DEI rollbacks, the teenagers that are coming out of high school. I want to give
Mhm.
them a scholarship to if they want to write or they want to do something in art, right? So my
Right.
whole idea behind that is because we don't know what we're missing if we don't give them a chance, right?
Exactly.
And that is where my heart is because we don't know if we're missing the next. We don't know if we're missing the next Stephen King. We don't know if we're missing the next amazing writer Maya Angelou. Like the reality is we don't know what we're missing if we never give them a chance to do it. So I agree
Exactly.
with you 1000%. My heart's in it with you. I support you. I support everything you're doing to the marrow of me because it's so important to give people a voice. And regardless of whether that's in writing, media, art, I
Mhm.
mean, everything's all together, but
Yeah.
what subcategory you're in, it doesn't matter. You're important and your voices too. And that's why I did this podcast because I want to elevate voices to do that. So,
Right. I love that. I love the idea of trying to ensure that people who could do great things have like the best opportunity to do so.
mhm,
Malcolm Gladwell talks about that. He calls it capitalization rate. And if you think about like Kenyan runners, they have like a 99% capitalization rate. If you're a great runner in Kenya, they're going to find you. And this happens in sports
mhm,
a lot. If you're a great football player, great basketball player,
mhm,
if you're really committed, people are going to find you. They're going to find
right,
you. You can go to the camps. You can go to drafts. There's
mhm,
going to be recruiters and on and on. You're going to get the extra attention if you're playing in high school or college, and you can get to the pros if you're good enough.
right,
But we don't have a high capitalization rate for creatives.
right,
There's no recruiters really for creatives.
mhm,
There's no like drafts for creatives.
right,
There's no systems, even for scholarships. Scholarships for creatives is minimal, it pales in comparison to scholarships for sports.
right.
And we don't treat creative industry or intellect as things that we are getting a high capitalization rate for.
Mhm,
So you have all these genius people in all these different domains that are never recruited or never
mhm,
meet the capitalization rate, that no one is going out and seeing and finding them and helping them evolve and taking care of stuff for them and
yeah,
granting them grants and scholarships anywhere near at the level that we should be. There's
right,
tons of genius artists that I know that nobody knows about.
yeah,
And I think that lack of capitalization is wild. And I think AI can help with that because it
yeah,
can empower, like you said. I love it for writers because writers, you have this amazing story you've put in your head.
mhm,
And it's interesting. The Harry Potter movies brought more people to Harry Potter than the books did,
yeah,
which you would not think would be the case, right?
right,
But think about how many people read the books simply because they fell in love with the movies and
yes,
vice versa. It is like a self-marketing thing, and that
yeah,
happens with so many properties. It doesn't have to be a massive one like that. Even on a small scale, if
Yeah.
you can give people a vision of your book, you can put it out where people are already looking, then you can get your book out to more people.
Yeah.
You know what I'm
It
saying? It's
becomes
just
an
like Walt Disney
ecosystem.
said.
Yeah.
Exactly. Walt Disney always said, he said, we don't make movies to make more money. We make money to make more movies.
Yes.
And if you can put your stuff out there and more people see it, you can make even more of the projects you're excited about and you love.
Exactly. All right. I just want to make sure that I touch on a few things real quick because we're about to run out of time. And I'm so sad about that. I'm going to have you back. I just adore you. Um,
Oh, no.
do you, out of all your projects, uh, is there one that feels closest to your heart, something you remember, or you'd want people to remember decades from now?
So I always it ends up being my most recent project most of the time. And right now it's probably Liminal. I
Liminal.
have
I love it.
it's
I
an
love it.
anima, it's I'm glad. It's currently active. It's a social show. So it's designed for social media and it's all vertical format and it's anime inspired.
Oh,
And
it's
it's
great.
designed to be a
It's great.
cyberpunk sort of thriller that's designed specifically for social media. I think social shows are going to be a big thing in the future. Next year, you're going to see them everywhere. Those and microdramas are going to absolutely take
Hmm.
over. I think it's a great way for creatives to get ideas straight to whoever wants to see them with total
Exactly.
creative control. And it's a great way to build up audiences so those can then get picked up into actual series or films or
Yeah, it
other
shows
projects.
audience engagement, and that's what you really want, right? You want to know, they want to know that your audience is engaging with your content, and that's huge. I actually put out a book that is it's called The Ecosystem Effect, and it's a small book, but I did it because I've been able um to scale the like different platforms. I'm not going to plug them or anything, but different platforms and where they all just kind of go into one ecosystem and it's one per and it comes back to one place. And that's my brand. That's me. And that's where it comes from. You want to send out the feelers everywhere. You want to concentrate in one place with one thing and then you want it all to flow back and you want to do
Right.
it and I put it out there as ego free so it tells you how to do it without being that person that puts out those self-help books where it's like, well, you need to do this and this and that's it.
Mhm.
No,
Sure.
it's more of a down to earth, more of a personable, this is how we do it because this is what you need to do. And that's part of that. That's part of the ecosystem effect. Using an 8 second trailer for your book or your podcast or your even a short story could make all the difference in the world for anyone, honestly.
Exactly.
Is there anything that you would like to say before we end this? And I just want to thank you so much for being here with us. I mean, Lion, I would talk to you for hours. I mean, seriously, maybe one day, because I just think that you're just so amazing. So, is there anything that I can that we can tell the people out there?
I feel the exact same way. I would definitely love to talk to you more, and we totally will. But I think that the main thing I want to tell people, especially for artists, because I'm an artist first, is that as creatives, we don't inherently uh, care about marketing or business or anything like that.
Mhm.
We just want to make stuff. And
Right.
I feel the same way. But I think what we don't realize is that everything is 50% making the thing, 50% marketing the thing.
Hmm.
If you just want to make a sketchbook and no one sees it, I have tons of sketchbooks filled with stuff no one's ever going to see.
Right.
But if you want people to actually see this stuff, if you're making it for other people to enjoy, then you have to do that 50% marketing. But think about that 50% marketing as creative as well. Build a universe around whatever you're doing. You can apply just as much creativity or more into the universe you build around the project as you put into the project itself. And I think if artists
Lion.
think about that, yeah.
We have less than 1 minute. I sent you a meeting message on your in your LinkedIn for a new one. If
Okay.
you want to grab that, we can just continue this.
Okay. Yeah, that
Is
sounds
that okay
great.
with you?
Of course. Let me
Okay.
see.
That way we don't
What
have to
were we
worry about
talking
it. Give it
about?
just a few minutes and
Oh,
click on
I
that
think
because
you're
I don't want to
asking if
lose you
there's
and
one
lose the
thing
middle of this
I
conversation.
could
I think
leave
it's
people.
very important
Yeah.
that people
Mhm.
go ahead. Do you want to
Hear
go
it.
ahead and finish talking about that? Because I mean,
Yeah. So the main thing that I would leave people with is just the idea that if you're creative, we don't naturally care about business or marketing or anything like that necessarily. but to think about every project you do that it's 50% doing the thing and 50% marketing the thing. If you
Hmm.
just have like a sketchbook and you don't want anyone to see it, then you can just make whatever you want. You don't have to do anything. But
Right.
if you want to make stuff for people to see, you want to have an audience who enjoys it, you want to get people to be excited about a project, do 50% making it and 50% marketing it. And
Hmm.
think about the marketing as the creative aspect as well.
Right.
Marketing is creative inherently. You want to get people's attention, you want to get them excited about something. That's the same thing you're doing with the project. And you can often spend just as much creative work on the marketing and building the universe around the project as you
Hmm.
did on the project itself. And I think if creators knew that, if they knew that they could, you know, have fun and be artistic and be creative, building this world around whatever they're
Right.
doing, they wouldn't treat marketing as some foreign thing that you have to do that's not exciting. And ironically, you'll make much better stuff, much more exciting stuff if you do that.
I agree with you 100% on that too, because I mean, I think that our ideologies are a lot the same. Because I don't look at what I do as a separate. I feel like my creativity never stops when I'm putting my work out on my socials, when I'm, working to promote whatever I'm promoting. I don't even see it as promoting. I see it as bringing people into my world and allowing them a glimpse into what I'm doing. But it is marketing. I'll give it that. At the bottom of the barrel, it's marketing at the foundation. But I don't feel like I don't market like a person that would market, like you see the commercials and things like that. That's not how I do it. I just want to give people an idea and let them see what I have, what I'm offering, and let them enjoy it with me because I enjoy doing it. I want you to enjoy the ride with me. That's kind of how I do it, but it has to be creative and it has to grab people. And it has to be something that you want people to want to lean into instead of looking at it and scrolling past it. It has to be eye-catching. And I mean that's really what it is. I just put out a short story on Substack. That's where my podcast goes, and Apple and all those other ones, but Substack is where my home base is. And it was a very short story. It was like 342 words, but it got the most traction ever
Wow.
on anything. And the other one that I did was a 9 second short I did with CapCut. And it was 9 seconds. And I started the podcast on August 9th, and by the end of that week, it had over 100 downloads. 9 seconds.
Wow.
And it
Wow.
was about my books. And it was just a simple like interaction between one of my characters and their daughter. And that's all it was, a few things. And it was simple, and it was not even like AI. It was, well, CapCut, but it was not the kind of AI that you use, like, like the visual. It was more of like pictures that was set to voice and a
Right.
voiceover, and it moved people, and it moved them in the best way. And I just realized that, like I feel like with our attention span being basically at 8.25 seconds, the shorter is the better at this point because you're getting people's attention and they don't have to spend a lot of time to see how much you're putting out. It really
Right.
it really does do something for that. And yeah, books are great, and I'm not putting it down because I have some amazing stuff on the, sidelines that I'm doing. But, at the end of the day, you have to base your um, work, if you want to succeed, on what the needs of people are at this time.
Right.
You can't
And
do what you want to do and expect to make it. You have to look at what's trending, what people want. And with TikTok and all these different things where, like your liminal is amazing. I love it. I remember messaging you going, where can I find this? What is this? And I followed it because it's really one of those, you grab it, it grabs you, you hold on to it for a minute, and then boom, you're done. And it's like this just I'm shook, like it's great. So like
hey,
yeah, it's really true. You have to really do it, and you have to think about what your target audience is for that and how to make sure that they're enjoying your work.
definitely. I love your approach. I mean, a good way to think about it is you make shorter work to get people's attention and give them an idea of your universe. It's like an introduction into your universe. And then you can make longer and longer work once they want to join, right? If you
Yeah.
think about from a podcast, it's a very long form format. But you could take small clips and you can put them on social media, and those clips can show people, oh, okay, maybe one clip doesn't get them to go. Maybe they see two and they're like, I really like this. I need to check out the Writer's Quill podcast. Let me go see where I can find this. Then next thing you know, you're in something more long format where you're getting so much more sustenance from it over a longer period of time. I always tell people they can all remember their favorite movie, but you might not remember all the content you see on
Mm-hmm.
social media. But that stuff can introduce you to your favorite movie. A
Mm-hmm.
trailer, you probably saw a trailer for a movie before you saw the movie. The
Exactly.
trailer is just a content that gets you interested in the world and gets you to go to it. So use the short content as an introduction into your world where people can dip their toes, see that the water's fine, and if it's something they like, they can jump in fully. Then they can watch the whole series, the whole movie, read the whole book, listen to the whole podcast. And I think if people frame it like that, they'll have so much more fun of a time making the shorter pieces of content because those are experiments on their own. It's like Hemingway's 6 word story, you know?
Mm-hmm.
It's like
Yeah, absolutely.
baby, it's like baby shoes for sale, never worn. And you
Yeah.
could have so much impact with 6 words. But why not do more experiments like that? And
Yeah.
then use those to get people to look at your greater work and your books and your podcasts and your movies.
Yeah, it actually got noticed, and I'm not bragging, but I'm really, really proud. It got noticed by Emerald City Ghosts. It's a
Wow.
writing literary magazine on Substack where they asked me to submit it for their magazine, which I'm just so
Wow.
excited
That's
for it because that's huge.
congratulations.
It really
That's
is
huge.
huge for me,
That's
like go ahead.
Oh no, I was just saying that's amazing. That's so
Yeah, thank you
incredible.
so much. I appreciate that. So I mean, yeah, I'm a very forward thinker. Like I don't sit in, I mean, I guess in a way I don't sit in like my own space and think, okay, well, I expect everybody to come to me. I go to
Mhm.
them. I offer them something of me. And then when they see that, then if they like what they see, then they're going to come with me. I've never been the type of person to push myself out on anyone. But I do also give you the option to see what I offer, and then you can follow if you'd like. That's kind of how I do it.
That's perfect. Yeah, invite people into your universe. If they like it, they'll come and hang out. All the best
Exactly.
creators did that. Walt Disney, he came up with these ideas. Like people forget Snow White was made almost 100 years ago, like 90 years ago,
Yes.
and people still watch Snow White to this day. Disneyland, think about how long Disneyland's been there. And I
Mhm.
still go to Disneyland, take my daughter to Disneyland. You can build these worlds and invite people to it. And if it's not for some people, that's fine. It's not for everyone. But the people who it's for are going to absolutely love it. And
Yep.
so just think about it that way. The same process you're doing is how all the greatest people did it,
Well, thank
And I
you.
think if
I
creatives take
appreciate
that
that.
away, they have a lot to learn. It's just you can follow these roadmap maps, these formulas. The one you put out, it's like, look, I'm going to give you a taste of the worlds I'm building. And then people can say, oh, okay, I like this, and they can sign up for it in whatever form that is. Every creative should be doing the same thing. Put stuff out there, find your tribe, find people who
Mhm.
that's their favorite thing. It's better to have 1,000 people who you make their favorite thing than 100,000 people who are indifferent about it?
That's in my book, actually. I said that's what I said in my book. I said I am more of a quality over quantity person. If you have
Mhm.
more loyalty fan base than you have quantity fan base, then you are in a better position because your loyal followers are always going to be your loyal followers.
Right.
You've made your foundation, you've built your foundation, then it builds from there. And being that they are your loyal foundation, they share your work. They share what you do. So then you have that loyalty and you have that basically a bond with with your foundation that you're putting this out for them. And then they continue to watch it and help it grow. It's word of mouth. That's what it's about. Hey, like, girl at lunch reading my email is like, hey, did you see this to her friend? And look at this. And then she follows. And then it just becomes a
Right.
snowball effect. And no, it doesn't happen overnight. But if you continue to push, you continue to do, you continue to rebrand, you continue to not rebrand, but more or less show
Evolve.
people that you can
Yeah.
change and evolve, You're never going to sit still. Don't ever sit still on your ideas. If one isn't making it, go to the next idea because the next one could be what is your big break. That's the thing. And people sit back and I feel like they sit back and they go, okay, well, this is what I offer and take it or leave it. Well, a lot of people don't realize that if you just tweak a certain thing just a little bit, then you're going to be in a much better position and you're going to have the people that are going to want to see that huge thing at the end of the day. So
Right.
that's really what it is. And I feel like that's what people need to understand in this world right now. People are concentrating on those little short clips, and that's where you're
Mm,
going to get people's attention, and then it goes from there. And once you have their
right.
attention with that, and they're loyal and they're looking for those and they're engrossed and they're ingrained in that, then you have them and you can take them with you on your entire journey. So yeah, I agree 100%.
That's brilliant. I love your strategy. I love the idea of focusing on quality over quantity. What people don't realize is that quality is about to be the biggest differentiator you have because
Hmm.
quantity is going to be taken care of. More and more people are making stuff every day. More and more people are coming into the space. You're going to start getting a whole bunch of AI stuff.
Hmm.
So the only thing that's going to separate people is going to be your quality, right? Your particular taste, your particular skills. Can you make something that someone really, really loves that stands out specifically to them? And a
Right.
great way to do that is just make yourself the audience. Martin Scorsese says, when I make a movie, I'm the audience. Basically, meaning
Exactly.
he's trying to make his favorite movie. And then if you just try to make your favorite movie, be honest with yourself, make your favorite book, be honest with yourself and say, would this be my favorite if I put it out? And you just focus on that, making your favorite thing. There's going to be a lot of other people who that would be their favorite thing too. It's the best way to build like a quality audience and really get people excited about your universe and into your world.
Right, exactly. It's kind of like if you build the resonance, then you have your people. When you can get
Mhm.
resonance with your people and like me resonating with anyone, that's when like I'm a diehard supporter of you. Like that's really what it is. And yes, I could
Mhm.
probably fangirl because it's just so amazing and it was so amazing to me. But
Oh, thank
realistically, that and liminal. But the reality is that once you have your people that it really speaks to,
you.
they're
Mhm.
going to be there with you. It doesn't matter what you do. Like I'll follow you wherever because I really your work spoke to me, and that is what people like anyone coming up, anyone doing things, that's what they really need to understand. You need to make sure that your whatever it is resonates with your fan base because your fan base is what's going to be what holds you together as everything changes. They're going to be loyal to you no matter what. So, I mean,
Exactly.
that's the bottom line. I agree with you 100%. Um, what excites you right now that nobody's talking about, Lion?
Definitely social shows. I think social shows and really like you know, micro dramas.
Uh-huh.
You have these very short form TV shows that are narrative and
Hmm.
episodic. You have characters and worlds and you follow them from one to the next. I think most people probably couldn't name a single social show or micro drama now, but by this time next year, I think everybody's going to be able to name at least one.
Hmm.
And I think every time you open an app, you might run into one. And I think that's the thing that no one's talking about that's really exciting because it has a very low barrier to entry, but your skill is going to be the quality difference that's going to determine if people relate to yours or not. And you can make a social show about anything you want. I think
Hmm.
it's perfect for writers. What I would do is comic book artists figured this out a long time ago. In comic books, you have writers and you have artists.
Hmm.
And on basically every comic book, you have one writer who teams with an artist or artists to make everything. The
Right.
writer writes everything and the artist draws. You have Stan Lee. He's coming up with all these amazing characters and he's writing the stories. And then you have like Mike Ditka, and he's going to be the one who's drawing, or Steve Ditko, and he's going to be the one drawing all
Right.
these things. And you beautiful collaboration. If I was a writer, I'd be finding an AI artist right now
Hmm.
and doing collaborations with them to make stories, to make your own social shows that shows off not just the work of the AI artist, but the work of the writer in a collaboration. You
Right.
guys partner on that. If one really takes off, not only can you monetize just that way and keep making your show you love or make new shows and do new partnerships, but those shows can just get picked up and put on
Right.
Netflix or services, because people are going to see, like you said before, that the audience engagement is there. You're taking away the risk of them investing in it because
Yeah.
you're showing, wait, people already really, really like this thing.
Yes.
I did a short film it was just a trailer to test out Hailuo called Colossi with like giant robots fighting giant monsters. And I'm a huge Pacific Rim fan. So I was like, okay, the people who like this kind of stuff, who like the old Godzilla movies or watch anime, they're going to respond to this. And they did. And a week after I put it out, a new Pacific Rim series starring Idris Elba got greenlit. And it's
Yep.
because they realized, like, oh, this is the proof we need to show that
It's
the
huge.
demand for this is still here.
Yeah.
Go make your own proof and then get it picked up into whatever else you want, into a bigger project, a movie, a show, a bigger
Exactly.
series, or something like that. And it's free. The cost to enter is zero. Anyone can
Yeah.
post on social media and get organic reach for free. You don't need to pay for ads. You don't need to have a big studio. And there's tons of AI artists and there's tons of writers, and like almost none of them have partnerships together. So
Right.
go do what the comic book artists figured out. And if you could do that, then you have one of the biggest opportunities in the world right now.
Absolutely. You're totally on 100% correct. And that's huge. It really is. It's huge for growth and success. I think I seen a news, like something on the news, that some of the bigger names in our like streaming platforms are going to micro dramas. They're going to start putting a lot of money into micro dramas because it's a like a taste type thing. Like that's what it is. It's TikTok and all these different things have made it very, and Instagram has made it very easy for us to spend less and less time in front of the same thing for a long period of time. So
Mhm.
our natural ability to, sit in front of a 2 hour movie or, sometimes is not
Right.
the same as it used to be.
Right.
So I mean, I think, yeah, you're right, and I agree. And that excites me too right now because, that gives a lot of people hope that they'll be able to do something and they'll be able to be seen. That's the
Right.
difference too, right there, because a microdrama is a lot different than a full length movie, and trying to get that done, you can green light a microdrama on your own. That's the
Yeah,
difference. So,
definitely.
so,
Yeah,
if
one day
you have the tools.
you could do those episodes, just do them less than 3 minutes, put them
Yeah.
on Instagram or TikTok to make sure that they push them out, do them in vertical format, and they could do amazing.
Yeah.
And they're so easy. Like you said, there's no barrier to entry. It's very little. Find someone who wants to do something with you and keep collaborating. People think AI has no collaboration, but you can collaborate with people all over the world. You don't have
Yeah.
to be in person. You could collaborate with someone in Japan and make a show right now. You know what I'm
Exactly.
saying?
Exactly. What mistakes do you see new creators making with AI tools, and how do you think that they could avoid them, Lion?
I think one of the main mistakes is not spending enough time focusing on filmmaking as a whole.
Hmm.
If you focus on filmmaking as a whole, filmmakers have already learned all of these formulas and figured all this stuff out. If you learn those filmmaking skills, then anything you make with AI is going to be a million times better. So spend half your time experimenting with AI because you're way ahead right now, and
Hmm.
it's fun. So much more you can do, and then spend half your time learning filmmaking.
Right.
It's like a real set of skills, and if you learn those, if you learn how to tell great stories, if you learn how to make engaging characters, if you learn different kinds of arcs like hero's journey and things like that,
Mhm.
if you learn framing and how to do cuts so that you're not, making people feel uncomfortable in your edits. If you learn all those things, each trick you learn in filmmaking can apply directly to AI filmmaking. And it's just going to pay dividends. It's going to pay more than any amount of tricks you learn in AI filmmaking if you learn filmmaking itself.
That's great advice, and I appreciate that. Thank you. And everybody realized that the man that's telling you this is absolutely amazing. So you want to take this and run with that because that's quality information right there. Um, so if you could leave one message for young filmmakers that are listening, something that they could carry forward, what would it be, Lion?
That there's a formula for everything. That in art, we like to think of it like magic. But what people don't understand is that when you go to a magic show, The magician knows everything they're doing. They have a formula behind everything they do. Every move they make is intentional. Everything that they're doing has a reason.
Hmm.
There's formulas behind all that stuff. And they practice and practice and practice and practice until it becomes perfect. And all of these things that you see, all the misdirection and sleight of hand that's being used that you don't even notice, those are formulas that they figured out in order to entertain and wow audiences. And the same thing exists in every creative industry. It's still magic, but you
Yeah,
have to know how to be a great magician, right?
yeah.
And so if every creative can go learn how to be a great magician and learn the formulas it takes to do this thing, they can just do so much more than waiting for it to happen by accident or waiting for it to happen by happenstance. So find the formulas, find the people who know them, find the people who teach them, and whatever you want to do, apply them, and it'll completely change your whole creative life, guaranteed.
That's amazing. And I thank you for that information. I'm sure we all do. Thank you so much. So I want to thank you for being here with us. I mean, honestly, I I have been blown away by by just how down to earth you are, how amazing and how kind you are. I mean, you even came back on for a second, call. Thank you for that. Thank you for spending time with me and us and giving us just a peek into your world because your world is absolutely amazing. And um, you're a pioneer of a brand new world that we're heading into. And again, if anybody hasn't checked out his Anywen or his Liminal, please look at Lion El Aton and check him out. He's absolutely amazing. And I mean, he speaks to my soul, so I want to just give that out there to you. Lion, I want to thank you so much for sharing your insights with us today. Your vision and your words continues to inspire and open doors for creators everywhere. It's been a privilege to have you on the Writer's Quill. For everyone listening, make sure you check out Film Crux and connect with Lion's work. You won't want to miss what he's building. As always, remember, every voice matters, every vision deserves to be seen. Until next time, keep creating, keep dreaming, and keep writing your story.